Lawson, the executive director of Social Security Works, the owner and host and producer at We Act Radio in Washington, D.C., our affiliate there. SocialSecurityWorks.org is the website. You can tweet him at ALaw202. Alex, welcome back.
Hey, Tom.
And today is Social Security's birthday, Alex. What are the biggest challenges that Social Security is facing right now?
Republicans and Wall Street. No, in the other order, Wall Street and Republicans.
Yeah, because Wall Street's been trying to privatize Social Security forever. They want to have those trillions of dollars in their pockets, right?
Yeah, they just can't keep their greedy little hands off of Social Security. You know, the thing is, they look at Social Security and they see 99 cents of every dollar that goes into the system comes back to us in benefits, less than 1% in administrative costs for the whole program. And they see that as a missed opportunity. You know, they would slap on another 25, 30% administrative fee. They couldn't provide what Social Security does, but even for any sort of retirement product that they sell to people, you know, you're talking 20% fees on it so they can afford their yachts. So they hate Social Security because it works so well at what it's supposed to do, which is provide economic security. And for 84 years, it's been doing that through boom and bust, through wartime and peace. Social Security has never missed a single payment. And it's the rock that people can count on to build their retirement security. So it's Social Security's birthday today, and we always celebrate it by saying happy birthday and talking a little bit about how Wall Street can't keep their greedy little hands off of it.
So what is the latest attack on Social Security coming out of the Republican Party?
So actually, Tom, this is brand new, and you and your audience are some of the few folks who can, like, sort of understand this. They've come at it, you know, just a frontal attack. They try to cut your benefits. We've been able to fend them off on that pretty decently. So then they come at it, they try to flank it. A death by 1,000 cuts on the administrative side through appropriations and starving it of money and resources. And we've done a decent job of explaining that to people and then fighting back against that. Now their latest tack, which is extremely, it's very dangerous, is they're actually going directly after the workforce. This guy who is in line to be the deputy commissioner of Social Security, David Black, which everybody should call their senator and tell them, put a hold, if they're a Democrat, put a hold on this guy. Do not confirm this guy. What he's doing is he's busting the unions that represent the workforce that the system is built on, both the administrative law judges and the frontline workers, but also the back of the house workers, the people who run the 800 number and all of that, to really create a uncertain and unfair working environment for these workers. Again, it's that death by 1,000 cuts. If they're going to take away the most capable people from the system, and as you know, Tom, this isn't just Social Security. I mean, if you have a Medicare question, which is an incredibly complex system, you're also going into a Social Security office. Right. So busting the union and demoralizing the workforce to try to just shatter them and actually, you know, push people to retirement and then not replace them is the tactic that they're rolling out right now, and it's extremely dangerous because it's a pretty nuanced attack. You know, you almost have to hand it to them.
Yeah, I'm guessing that their plan is something like this, and we've been seeing this for you know, over a decade now, where Republican budgets have less and less money for Social Security employees. And so their strategy is, okay, if we can cut the workforce, the Social Security workforce, back to the point where the average person, when they try to talk to somebody at Social Security, ends up on hold for 2 hours, or, you know, has to wait 3 weeks to get a response to a written inquiry, those people are going to start saying, screw this, I'd rather have my money with a bank, where I know I'm going to get instant results and I can walk into a branch.
That's exactly right. Or, you know, some people think it's a bit of a violent image, but I think it is what they're doing at a macro level. I always call it they kneecap the mailman and then they complain that the mail is late,
right.
so that they can be like, oh yeah, I actually happen to have a cousin over here who runs a private mail service. That's their, that's privatization 101.
Right.
And I think we should rename privatization, because that doesn't sound nearly as robbing as it actually is, right? It should just be called like looting
or profitization.
Yeah,
which is really what it is. It's profitization. So, we talked last time we're talking with Alex Lawson, SocialSecurityWorks.org. The last time we talked about how starting next year, starting in 2020, if you become Medicare eligible, if you turn 65 next year, you will no longer be able to buy, and this was a rider that was put on a budget bill back in 2015 by a Republican. You will no longer be able to buy insurance that fills in that 20% gap that Medicare doesn't cover, which is going to cause most people, or a lot of people, to say, well, if I've got a 20% copay on everything, except hospital expenses, then screw that. I'm going to go with the privatized plan. I'm going to go with so-called Medicare Advantage, not realizing that Medicare Advantage is entirely privatized, that if you go out of what's the
network?
Word? Network, thank you. If you go out of network, then, you get all these huge expenses, or they refuse to pay, or, they may even cut you off. I mean, you just don't have the protections that you have with Social Security.
Your care can get denied. That's the part that I think people just don't get that about Medicare Advantage, that in Medicare Advantage, it's just private insurance. So you can go in and they can just say no, just like a private insurer can, fundamentally undermining the guaranteed provision of Medicare.
Right.
And then, because these are the same sociopathic, greed-driven companies, they're wrongful denials. When the Inspector General, the OIG report on Medicare Advantage denials found that north of 70% of the denials were wrong, but people didn't know that they could contest them, and so they didn't. And that's the exact tactic that insurers use right now, right? They make it so hard to actually get the care that you need that tons of people basically give up because they're like, I don't feel like dealing with this bureaucratic maze, 4 hours on the phone for some prior authorization, something.
Right, and then they end up in stage 4. I mean, before anything is even diagnosed. So Alex, has there been any effort, any movement by Democrats to reverse this Republican plan, or this Republican law now? I mean, this is law, that starting next year, you won't be able to buy an insurance plan that will fill in that 20% hole.
So I think, what I am looking at is bigger than that. There are efforts around Medigap, and Social Security Works. We're leading some efforts to actually hold Medicare Advantage accountable as well, and there's some movement in the Senate on that. But, this is why we need to actually just look at the whole system and say, we need to ensure no deductibles, no co-pays, no out-of-pocket.
Yeah, just radically simplify the whole thing.
Yeah. Medicare for all, improved Medicare for all. First, we improve it. We fix all the things that are wrong with Medicare. We cover vision, dental, hearing. We cover long-term care. We get rid of the gap, no donut hole, no out-of-pocket costs on prescription drugs, and then we expand it to everybody. And in that system, everyone can see whatever doctor they need to, whatever provider they need to, and the only losers in that system are insurers and, big insurance and big pharma. Right.
But big insurance and big pharma are according to Bernie, they made $100 billion in profits last year. And they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars of that buying politicians, keeping control, their absolute control of the Republican Party, and buying as many Democrats as they can. And now they're going to be buying all kinds of advertising on the airwaves and weighing in very, very heavily in the elections, because these guys are looking at $100 billion in profits going up in smoke.
Absolutely. And, I think one of the biggest things is they're either directly own the media or they own it by proxy of, look at what ads are run on the television, on corporate media. It's all pharmaceutical ads.
Right.
So
we're one of only 2 companies in the world that allows that, us and New Zealand. That's it. Every other country in the world says pharmaceuticals cannot be advertised on television. And it used to be that way here.
Yeah, which obviously is good for the public health as well.
Right.
But it's just, it is a corrupt system. But I do have this faith that the system is so rotten and the people are so sick and tired of these greedy bureaucrats and big pharma and big insurance just literally robbing us of our wealth and our health and too often people's lives, that, you know, we're going to stand together and demand a big structural change and just join the rest of the world with a system that provides health care. And then flip back to Social Security for the 84th birthday. We've talked about this as well. You know, John Larson, Representative John Larson from Connecticut, he's not a huge progressive guy. He's you know, pretty establishment Democrat. He's pushing a bill. It's got 211 co-sponsors on it, 211 sponsors, including himself, to expand Social Security. You know, that's only 7 votes, 7 members shy of passing the House. We've had a full Ways and Means hearing on it. Like, we have changed the conversation around these issues. Obviously, we could pass it out of the House. It's not like McConnell's going to do anything with it in the Senate, but it will let people know who's on whose side. The Democrats are pushing to expand Social Security. The Republicans are pushing to destroy Social Security.
Right, and it's always been that way. I mean, you know, Social Security was a program. This is Franklin Roosevelt's program. Medicare was LBJ's program. These are programs that Democrats came up with. Democrats put into law over the loud opposition of Republicans. Republicans have fought them forever. And Alex, would it be accurate to say that the bottom line here, and we're going to hit a break in a second, that the bottom line here is that if you want to save Social Security and Medicare, don't you dare vote for any Republican at any level, anywhere, because even if you're voting for a Republican for school board or city council, that's a stepping stone to a legislative position where they might be able to mess with Social Security or Medicare.
And that is what they do. They dance to the tune that Wall Street calls, and that tune is destroy Social Security and Medicare because they work.
Yeah, and you know, the banks and the insurance companies want our money. And then, like with, as you point out, with Medicare Advantage, if you have Medicare Advantage, you are at risk. The insurance companies can screw you, and they frequently do.